enough to use your voice, brave enough to listen to your heart, and strong enough to live the life you've always imagined. Hello and welcome to this very exciting episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories. And with me, Isha Bhalla, we're ready to start this very interesting conversation. The Economic Times Cutting Chai is a series brought to you by the ET Edge, where we converse with CXOs, info entertain you, our viewers, while sipping our cutting chai. So I really hope you've grabbed your cup of chai, because sharing life experiences and a lot more is our special guest today, Vikas. Kumar, co-founder and chief technology officer, LoanTap, a financial technologies, an investor, a technology mentor, an author, a marathoner, whatnot. We have the man himself for you. So let me begin by extending a very, very warm welcome to him and tell him how excited our viewers are to really get to know him. So how are you today, Mr. Kumar, and how excited are you to be on the show?
Oh, great, great. It's always fun to talk to people and get to know their perspectives. So looking forward to this session.
You know, you're a young leader, and it brings us great joy to see leaders like you building teams and organizations, and you've had some amazing experiences in the past. In fact, you are a mentor today to so many. So I'd like to begin by asking you, what would that grand message be to the youth today, to those who want to be leaders of future?
I think, in fact, today is Women's Day. So I was just talking to we had a breakout session with the females in our community. And I was just telling them, I think what we need to now do is, from so long, we've always tried to be perfect and not be brave, right? I think now with the resources available, it's time to move away from perfection and to start being brave. I think the world is ready to take you on now. Earlier, when we were younger, there were not enough resources. So even if you were brave, there was nothing there to be brave about. But now, with the world the way it is, I think it's everybody's chance to now just go out and conquer. It's the best time to be. I always wish I was like 15 years younger. This is the best time to be in your 20s and 30s. It is the best time.
Right. So go out and conquer, because the world is there for you. You know, there are so many of our viewers who follow you, your leadership style. And this really makes me curious as to how you define your leadership style, the traits, and one really has so much to learn from you.
So interesting. So recently, I think last year or so, I have changed my leadership style a lot. So earlier I was kind of quite aggressive, and the whole objective used to be, sort of I am right and you are wrong sort of approach, and this is it, or more bossy structure. But recently, I've started meditating, and that has built a lot of empathy in the system. And now my current view is that all leaders, need to move by empathy. So I think that's where we lack. Most of us tend to be very sympathetic towards our juniors, but very few of us are empathetic. And as I've converted my style towards empathy, where you're looking at the problem of the employee first, rather than sort of just barging into his life. Especially after COVID and all, I'm seeing people just calling up at 9 in the morning and say, "Hey, I'm not coming in today. I'm working from home." And your immediate reaction is, "What the heck is this? You jolly well be here." But once I started looking from an empathy angle, I realized that a lot of these people had a lot of personal problems, their family stuff, and they were living with the office rules because they had no choice. COVID gave them a choice to express themselves and come out and say, "Hey, it's okay that one day I spend with my family. I'm still going to work, but give me the chance." So I think the way I'm looking at leadership now is understanding your team, being empathetic towards their problems. It's okay if only 80% of the work gets done. It's okay if only 70% gets done. But better to have a happy team than a stressed out team and you are hitting all your targets. I think, as I mature, I think targets are there, it's important, but most probably human life and happiness seems to be much more important to me now.
You've put it all together so beautifully that yes, the pre-COVID days and now post-COVID, we've seen a lot of changes happen in the world around us. And your leadership style has definitely changed for the better. And something, that meditation, like you said, has helped you. It brings so much more patience. And like you said, a happy team is what makes you happy as a person as well. So here we'd like to ask you, what are those few traits that you feel that a team must have for the team to really come together, work together, and like you said, be motivated to achieve more?
I think one of the key challenges I found in the teams, especially maybe in the technology side, is that there seems to be too much focus on earning money. So recently, the way tech is performing, you see people are just jumping around jobs, and somebody who was 6 lakhs suddenly is getting 12 lakhs, and then that also doesn't make him happy. So he goes and asks for 15 lakhs. And at some point, he has outdone himself because he was worth 6, 8 lakhs still, but he's getting a salary of 20 lakhs. So the expectation is very high, right? So I feel that, somewhere what we call in Hindi, sthirta, the ability to stabilize oneself, is something which employees need to work with, and they need to have longer stints in a company, because otherwise the whole story doesn't play out. Every time, if you're jumping around every 2 years, again, you have to prove your point. So I'm like, you've already proven you're a great person, but when you join a new company, you again start from scratch, you again upset your family. So I think, the key thing, employees have to focus on is that, yes, I'm here for a long haul, 3 years, 5 years, then your ESOPs mature, you get bonuses, you're able to build wealth, right? So somehow I think this new trend of, just jumping around every 6 months needs to stop, and we need to start, actually living a life, doing a job as part of the whole process, rather than as the money cannot be the only objective, but that seems to be very key now. And people just, whoever is the highest bidder, people are moving around. So I think one of the key traits now I'm looking at, my team, rather than, them being very technology or very talented, is the attitude thing, and the fact that they're looking for a long haul with Lone Tap. I think that's become really key to me. And I'm like, yes, if you're there for me 5 years, I'm happy to grow with you. I'm happy to work with you. We're happy to fill in gaps. But if you're wanting to jump after a year, nothing pans out really.
Right. So really taking those small steps, growing slowly with time, and giving yourself also some long-term personal growth goals. And that really is what works for you in a team. There are always accomplishments that we are very, very proud of. And I'm sure there have been many in your life. But if I was to ask you for a couple of those examples, what is it that you'd like to share with the viewers here and the youth? What is it that you feel so very proud of once you've achieved?
So I've always been in the startups in 2000. But personally, if you ask me, I don't consider that as my most the best achievement. In 2010, I was quite fat, and I was looking for how to get fitter and all. And after a lot of analysis, I decided I want to run. And then when I looked around, nobody seemed to be running. So with a couple of friends, I started a group called Pune Running. And I realized that there was no groups, nothing which would encourage people to run. Right? So we decided to, sort of create this group, and we went ahead, got a lot of people to become part of this group and all. And this group really became big. And at some point, it became one of the largest groups in India, and definitely the largest group in Pune. And it still exists, though I'm not very active in it. So when I look back, this whole journey of where, we hundreds and thousands of people, we motivated them to run. Today also, indirectly, directly, I can, half the people who run in Pune would at some point either have run with Pune Running, or they have run with a fragment of Pune Running. So that makes me feel very, proud and happy that we were able to create and actually change a city. So somewhere I feel that Pune runs because somewhere I was part of it. So that's, one of the biggest satisfactions I ever have in my life.
I think it's so nice to really shift gears to fitness and concentrate on oneself, on healthy living, on change and better lifestyle. And that's what brings me to my next question. The lines between personal and professional are very, very blurred, and especially so in the last couple of years. How is it that you maintain that perfect balance with your life, and what is it that you like to do?
Yeah, that has become a toughie, especially after COVID. It has
Right.
become lines and people. The expectation of you being there 24 by 7 was always there. After COVID, it seems to have aggravated. But somewhere, I think, my partner, me, we all decided that there has to be some kind of me time beyond professional time, professional work. So some of the things which I do very actively is like after about 9:30, 10, my mobile is on quiet, and I'll not pick up phones or pick up anything after 9:30, 10 until unless you have pre-told me or it's an emergency. In fact, I won't even look at WhatsApp and all. Then things like I actively do meditation, I'll do running, I'm into sports. So at least 2 or 3 hours a day I'll spend with myself and my family. So I have a daughter of about 5 years. So I'll make sure I spend at least an hour with her, playing with her. So there's a lot of personal time we are grabbing. And even the good part is even my investors and the message which is coming now from the overall system is, hey, you need your me time. Amazingly, I just met one founder. He's just done a startup and he's got investments. And he has clearly told his investor and everybody that 1 month in a year, I will be completely out of the grid, no mobiles, nothing. If you're okay with that, then only you can fund me, otherwise don't fund me. So I realized that yes, me time has to be there. And in fact, I'm telling my team also, we have actively started encouraging our teams to go trekking and do things. We have created a health group. We have created trekking groups in our company. So yeah, we hardly ever refuse leaves. So overall, I think somewhere in this whole madness, COVID has also taught us that life can be very short,
Yeah.
and you want to live your life. And all said and done, work cannot be your life. We all talk about work, but at the end of the day, whoever looks back. You never look back and say, "I wish I'd done more work." You always feel, you wish you had spent more time with the family, you had gone out, you had done more vacations, you had traveled more. So yeah, I'm actively reclaiming my personal life, and I'm making sure that there is less and less interference. I will work, but me time is equally important, and my company and my family and all are supporting that, and and reverse also. So even our employees were actively supporting personal time. So we're saying, yes, if you have personal issues, you have personal time, please go ahead and take time off for yourself.
Right,
So
because only when you're personally satisfied and happy can you put your 100% in your work. So it really is a vicious circle out there.
yeah, and what's the point, if you become very rich and you become very successful, but you're not happy, your family hates you, you have not spent time with them, your kid is 20 years and you hardly know her well, uh, I don't see really any point of working either way.
Absolutely. And you mentioned this wonderful point in, really switching off from the world around you and having some alone time, focusing on yourself, on your personal growth, giving ample time to your family, your team, your friends, and really creating that beautiful balance. You also spoke about how important it is to travel, to explore, and to know what's really out there. And now that things are getting back to normal, we'd love to know what your travel plans are and where you'd like to head next.
Oh, so I've become a fanatic about road trips and all. So COVID taught me that the best way is to just take out your car. So in fact, 2 months back, I just bought a new Tata Safari, and I've already driven it 5,000 kilometers in the last 2 months. So like I drove it to Goa, and then I've taken it to Daman, and a lot of trips to Bombay and all. So I'm very clear. Twice a month, I'm going to disappear for 3-4 days, take maybe one day extra beyond the weekend, take out my car, either with my family or with friends, and go out and just explore. Luckily, the best part about India, has become that the roads have become fabulous. So you can actually travel, 700, 800 kilometers in India now without too much of a stretch. Right. So I'm like, do you really want to now travel international when you have so many, you can just take out a road at low budget, you can just travel all over India. They're building an expressway by which you can reach Mumbai to Delhi in about 14 hours. So it's amazing. It's the best time to, have a nice car and just road trip around India. So my plans is all around road tripping now. I'm going to just take out a car, go 200, 300, 400 kilometers, camp there for 2 nights, come back. So that's where
right, and we really are looking at incredible India and experiencing the beautiful road trips. And, here I'd love to dive into a little rapid fire and get to know more about you as a person. So you have very, very, very limited time to answer this. Okay, so it's going to be a quick either or, and let's see how you do. I promise you a good cup of chai after this. Okay, so learn by watching or learn by doing?
Doing.
Are you more cautious or the bold kinds?
Bold kinds.
Okay, will you dip toe in the pool first or go right in with a dive?
Right in, I always do that.
Okay, you like sleeping till late or a midday nap over the weekend?
Midday nap over the weekend.
Okay, what's your favorite quick snack? Will it be a fruit or some cookies?
Fruits.
And fresh juice, or will it be our favorite cutting chai?
Chai.
I'm so glad you said that, because this makes you win a fantastic cutting chai with me, Isha, and our entire team, because this interview has really been so much fun, at the same time learning what you are as a leader, and I'm sure that our viewers enjoyed it. Thank you so very much, Mr. Vikas Kumar. It's been a pleasure getting to know you.
Thanks.
We have with us Mr. Vikas Kumar, co-founder and Chief Technology Officer, Lone Tap Financial Technologies. And may I also present to you Mr. Aditya Agarwal, Head Large Enterprise, Lenovo India. What a pleasure to have both of you join in this very interesting conversation.
Same here.
Hey. Hi, Aditya.
Hey.
Hi, Isha.
Well, we have some very interesting points to discuss with both of you. So let me begin by asking Mr. Vikas Kumar, what, as per you, are the top IT challenges that you foresee in the next 1 to 2 years?
Beyond obviously the fact that it's going to be a tech crunch and it'll be very difficult to hire resources, the cost has shot off the roof. Right. From the cloud side, I think the challenge I'm facing is that it's becoming more and more, the architectures are becoming much more complex, and there's becoming more and more with work from home, work from anywhere. I think it's going to be very challenging. How do we secure our environment with people running off with your data, with multiple cloud providers? I think setting up your stack and setting up the architecture is going to become a nightmare, and smaller companies like ours becomes a slightly more challenge, because you really can't pump in too much money in these disciplines, because you don't have that much requirement or that much money to fund this whole thing. So but the need is as high as a large organization, so it is going to be a tight walk as we progress.
Right. And now I'd like to head over to Mr. Aditya Agarwal and ask him that what are the top IT challenges that you foresee in the next couple of years?
In fact, Vikas spoke about precisely what I was going to speak about, which is this whole work from anywhere. It's no longer home office. People want to just work from anywhere possible. And that brings in challenges of security, mobility, the ease of use. So all that is a big challenge, and security being a critical one, right? Because your data may be on secure, unsecure networks. And the second is whole, as Vikas also mentioned, this whole, and we're seeing this trend across, that how do you utilize, and to answer all of this, you need to utilize your capital well, right? That you have, most people have limited funds and much more uses of the funds possible. So how do you utilize that well? For example, move from capex to opex and look at savings there, kind of distribute the whole thing. Now that's another, associated challenge that we are seeing. But yeah, apart from the human challenge that we have, be it in terms of hiring or be it in terms of the mental health of people, right? This work from anywhere, at least from a device perspective, is a big one.
Yeah, That's going to kill us.
Yeah. There'll be opportunities.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. So those really are the challenges that one is looking forward to find solutions to. And at this point, I'd like to thank Mr. Vikas Kumar and Mr. Aditya Agarwal for joining us and making this such an interesting discussion and conversation. Thank you so very much, both of you.
Thanks, Isha. Thanks, Aditya.
Thank you.
Thanks.